Okay, here's our next introduction video, final introduction video. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page about what I expect from you guys in terms of like the grading and the assignments and the schedule. I'm sure you're all wondering too, as you have just like this host of online classes that you have to kind of all keep straight. So let me outline that for you in these next few slides. Here is an overview of the assignments that will make up your grade. Notice that your grade will be taken out of 1,000 points. So if you get 900 points, you have a 90 out of 100 or an A minus basically. So I'm going to start with discussion boards. That will be due weekly. There will be 5 discussion boards, and each one has 2 weeks rolled into it. So there's 5 discussion boards that take 2 weeks each, so about 10 weeks total of discussion board questions for 10% of your grade. And then we'll have homework, which is due about every 2 to 3 weeks, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. And I'll release kind of as I cover the material. Then it will be 2 quizzes. Each is worth 20% of your grade or 200. They're kind of like tests, calling them quizzes because they're like take home. And I'll talk more about the policy I have for all of those. And then there will be a final exam, which you can, which will be just like the quizzes essentially, except there's a little less time because of what time of the week, what day of the week we have to take it. And then finally, there will be a group applied paper that you'll work on in a group. And there'll be milestones for those, which are due about every 2 weeks. And that gets you like 60 out of 200 points, or about 30% of your points just come from completing things on time for this assignment. And that's due on finals week. It's Friday of finals week also. And so I'll talk a little bit more about all of these things in the upcoming slides. First, I want to talk about my grading scale. So on the right here, you can see the table that I use to give you the letter grade at the end of the year. 900 to 1,000 points is an A, 800 to 900 is a B, so on until you get less than 600 would be an F. And I'm going to give you all the chance to earn extra credit points, which I'll talk more about in depth. And so what that basically means is if you ask me to bump up your grade, I'm going to say probably not going to happen. And the reason for that is that I will be giving you extra credit opportunities. And so if you're close and took advantage of the extra credit, then the extra credit's the only reason you're close. And if you're close and you didn't take advantage of the extra credit, the only reason that you're close is because you didn't take advantage of the extra credit. So if you're worried about being on the border, then do the extra credit. And that's basically all for the grading scale. I'm going to do class video lectures like these. I'm going to do 2 videos per week, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. And I'll post one and they'll go through the slides like this. And you should watch these. I spend time like putting a lot of good examples and applications in these slides that I think will help expand your knowledge of the material beyond just reading the textbook and looking at some slides without the background. So I'm going to post all the videos on YouTube. So they have captioning, automatic captioning with YouTube. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want, or you can follow the links from eCampus. They'll all be up there. In addition to that, I'm going to make all the lecture slides available online for you to download and look at your own leisure. It basically means like I'm making this class asynchronous. So there's not a defined window where the lectures are available or like I'm live in a setting for you. And this should help you guys with time constraints and fitting this into your course or into your larger schedule. So the discussion board, they're primarily related to reading material for the week. I might have you like read an article or read something by a famous economist, and I'll just use them to assess your comprehension and identify weak points and help you develop your economic intuition for how economists are looking at the issues that are interesting for society today. It'll help you learn from your classmates, hopefully, and just discuss some real world application. To get full credit on these, you have to offer a substantive contribution to the discussion. some ways to do that I've noticed over the years are you bring in a new example, or you offer some quantitative, theoretical, or other credible evidence from a credible source, or you identify an assumption or help clarify an issue in another person's post. Those are kind of like a short list, but I am making available online a list of bullet points of things that have made discussion posts good and bad in the past. So feel free to refer to that because there's been like questions on how to make good discussion board posts. So there are 2 posts required for every 2 weeks. That means a post per week basically for one discussion board, and they're due at Sunday at 11, or I think Saturday at 11:59. I think that's a typo on the slides, but it's right in the syllabus right now. So I'll fix that before I post these. I'm going to monitor the discussion board daily around 5 to 6 p.m. and like during office hours or during the scheduled class time, Tuesday, Thursday, 11:30 to 12:45. A good way to reach your 2 points is responding to classmates and highlighting areas you're unsure about. If you're responding to someone's post, you should say like, Ben, I saw what you said. I think whatever. Insert economic wisdom. And yeah, like I said, so you can see this document for some guidelines. Homework, it would have been in class or group activities. I encourage you to work together on these if you can and learn from each other. They're designed to be completed after you watch the pre-lecture video, reading, and watch the lecture videos. And I'm really going to iterate that, like, we're going to be doing mathematical exercises. There's just no way around that, intermediate microeconomic theory. So if you want to get good at these things, you have to put in the time and practice. You're not going to be able to just watch the lecture slides and then be able to solve for an optimal bundle of goods that a consumer should purchase without practicing that. So, and the homework questions are just going to look similar to exam questions. I'll expect them to be due Sunday by 11:59. I expect I'll have multiple pages, and I only want one file, one PDF file. And there's a lot of free scanning programs out there that'll literally just turn your own phone into a PDF creator, or you can scan it if you want. It doesn't matter to me how you get your homework into one PDF file. So just figure it out and discuss it with me if you have a problem. I'm going to grade it complete, incomplete for 70% of the points of the assignment, and I'll choose one question to grade for the correctness for the remaining 30%. There'll be 20 points per assignment, so completeness will be 14 points and correctness will be 6 points. Okay, so for the group applied paper, I'm just going to have you practice the application of what we're learning in class to a real world question / topic that you're interested in. There's going to be groups of 4 to 5 people, and you can pick your own group. If not, I'll just assign you. I'm also going to have a discussion board post that's for you to put down what questions and topics you're interested in, so that I can maybe match people that way as well. And that would be a required post for your discussion board grade. And there's these 7 milestones throughout the semester. So far left of the timeline in the topic area, you to select a topic area of microeconomics, which can be like labor, urban, health economics. There's a lot education. There's lots of different subfields of microeconomics, and I'll have a more thorough list for you to view later. After that, you have to dive down into a more specific research question, which would be like in health economics would be like, is eating healthy and eating unhealthy a substitute or a complement, just as an example, or labor economics, like what are the effects of the minimum wage or something you've probably seen before. So next, you have to turn that into a paper prospectus, I'm calling it, which is about a 1-page intro that gets the reader interested in whatever topic that you're writing about. Then you have to have a model section, this kind of this 4th circle here, which uses a theoretical model from class to address the issues. An annotated bibliography, so to tell me like what sources you're pulling information from, and these should be economic research articles if you can, published, in a journal. You can use EconLit, and I'll post some resources for that as we get closer to that time. Rough drafts, you have to have an actual paper putting the intro, model section, and bibliography together, and then a final paper, which is a revised, polished paper that puts these all together, packaged together nicely. So I'm going to have additional details that'll come out. There's going to be these intermediate milestones, which are points in that timeline I showed you on the last slide. Do about every 2 weeks for about 60 points, as I mentioned. I would like to meet with groups about their topics during my office hours or some other mutually agreed upon time, twice if possible. Might not get to that, might only be once, but it'll be around milestones 2 and 5. We'll address that as we get closer, and then a final paper will be due on Friday of finals week by 5 p.m. to give you some time to grade it. And you're allowed to rank your group members' contributions on a 1 to 3 scale after each milestone, and I'll use those to adjust individual group members' grades, either down if they're not contributing very much, or up if they're contributing quite a bit. Quizzes for the assessments, I'm going to have a standard test, open note, open book. There's going to be 2 parts. That part A is going to be like a normal test, but it'll be open note, open book. It'll be 100 points out of the 200 for each quiz. And then part B, I'm going to have like either 2 to 3 sets of questions, and I'll randomly assign last name first letters. So if like my last name starts with a B, then I do set 1. If my last name starts with a Y, then I do set 2. I lay that out like in the syllabus pretty explicitly, but if you have questions, feel free to ask me. I don't want you to do the wrong section and get no points for that part of the test. I'm going to have you turn it in like homework using eCampus, a single PDF file, and there'll be a place to just submit your PDF file on eCampus, and we'll go from there. In general, I'm going to have no makeup exams. If you miss a quiz, the next one counts double. You have to contact me the day before the quiz if you know you're not going to be able to take it. That's how you can make sure that your next quiz will either count double or we make some other arrangement. And I'm going to give you Thursday from 1 p.m. to Sunday at 11:59 to submit the quiz. So you have a time period. It's not just like 2 hours of me watching you on the browser. You'll be on the honor system for this one. So please work on your own quiz. And the final is going to be all else the same as the quiz. Start date is December 10th on Thursday at 8 a.m. And then it's a slightly smaller window because I have to have grades in, but it'll be due by Friday at 5 p.m. And so these are the expected learning outcomes that we're going to get through this year. First, I'm going to call Microeconomics Boot Camp. We're going to explain the concepts of elasticity and compute them and analyze markets using microeconomics. This is should be rehashes of things you saw in Principles of Micro, and that's what I'm calling it boot camp. The second unit will be called Constrained Optimization, and this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of using calculus to solve for optimal decision-making for both consumers and firms. It's a really powerful part of microeconomics, but it's also pretty hard. So you need practice with these constrained optimization problems. And then back to markets, we're going to analyze behavior in competitive markets and the behavior of monopolists, which is a market with one supplier, and how they price with different amounts of market power. This course schedule is coming up. It's aspirational. I reserve the right to change it due to progress or unforeseen events, and I'll notify you of any major changes that happen. Here's the first half of the schedule. So our first test is here, and you can see all the reading for this week. There's no reading for our first week here. Obviously, no one has the book yet, so it'd be kind of, well, there is some reading, but you can get by without having that reading done. And our topics for Thursday will be economic models and economic data. And there will be no homework released this week, but there is a discussion board post that you need to do. And so this is a pretty thorough syllabus. Hopefully you can see like October 5th, we have this fall break, so there's no class on that Friday. And then the second half is there's this quiz in October. The homework would also be due that Sunday. And you can also see kind of on this far right side, here's when your group project milestones are being due as well. And this is Thanksgiving break, and then 1 week back, and then your final is on December 10th beginning at 8 a.m. So that's kind of the course schedule. Reading and homework schedules. So This would be like a reading schedule, what part of the book you should have read before the lecture slides to help you understand it. Ask me if there are any questions about these. There might be small discrepancies, but it's probably going to be okay if you have a different edition. The homework schedule, you can see like homework part 1 is being released on Tuesday, homework part 2 is being released on Thursday after the course content, and then it's due. So this is released on Thursday, and I changed this due date to Sunday to give you guys more time to complete this, and then I'll also start releasing homework 2 sections for you. And that's everything. So thanks for watching, and tomorrow I'll be releasing more videos about economic models and economic data, which are the subjects of the first week.